get one. They're not that dangerous. What's that?
Can you do like a bunny?
Yeah, of course. That's why I have these things.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so my foot can get under. I can get up on a curb and something like that. It's worth it.
How much are they? If I could ask.
This is one of the latest ones. This is like $4,500. And you pay a couple hundred for the seat, or you get a free one that's not as good. These cost a little bit of money. You need to have these.
Just for reflection, yeah.
Well, actually, I think these came with it. Yeah. Then I put the reflective tape on myself.
How fast is one of those things?
It can apparently go 60, but I've only gone 46.
Okay. Miles per hour.
Yeah. Yeah. I can probably get about 80 miles out of it. If I went slow, like 50 miles an hour, I might be able to get 100 miles out of it.
How long did it take you to adjust to riding it?
I've been riding since 2016. I think it took me a good 6 months to get decent. I still learn things over the past couple of years. I learned things, so it's like very defensive riding is really important.
Of course, yeah.
You never know when someone's going to take a right, and you always have to assume someone's going to pull out of an alley. You always got to predict. You can predict it, even though they're not. You just got to. So, yeah, I don't get into any accidents now just because I'm really good.
You got all that.
But I thought about turning this on, and just I know people take rights all the time without looking. So just I'll take a right. Oh, you owe me some money. I'm actually thought about doing that. I don't know if it's bad or not.
It's pay it off. It's a business.
Yeah. Got to pay the mortgage, you know.
Yeah, you gotta pay the mortgage.
Yeah, but if you go to ewheels.com, you can check them out.
Okay.
This is the Sherman L.
Latest model, right?
Well, I think there's a couple that are even newer. They keep coming out with new ones every year, every other year. But this one has shocks and it goes really fast. And this is my first one with shocks. So I think we're going to have this for like 10 years. Like I'm not going to... Because this is my sixth wheel. And I've been upgrading them all the freaking time. So, yeah, I've really got to stop buying. So I'm just going to deal with this for 10 years.
At least it's one wheel and not four. Yeah. Exactly. You'd have to replace all four.
Yeah, fuck that. Oh, okay. Gators for Christ.
That's a cool ring.
You don't know what it is?
Star Trek.
You're very good. Very good. It's the only jewelry I have that I ever bought. I don't wear shit else.
Yeah.
I'm always just nothing. And I'm like, I gotta look cool, so I gotta have something.
Look cool.
Star Trek, you can't go wrong with that shit.
I think you got the cool down.
Yeah. Yeah, you only see a handful of people riding these. So have you seen anyone riding lately?
No, I feel like you're the first person I've
Really?
seen. Yeah.
I thought there were some UF students who ride once in a while.
Maybe in the past I've seen a couple, but...
Oh, okay. So.
What's that? Pretty cool. Dude, ready to get into a fight with a bear.
Yeah, I don't know how that would work out. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know what you were until I read it just now.
That's fine.
You what?
As long as we can talk.
Sure. I don't believe the same way you do.
Can I ask why?
Why? Because you believe in a God, right? I don't even know what that is. I don't really think anyone does. I think if you don't know what something is, you can't really believe in it. So technically no one really believes in a God. They just believe in an idea of a God, I think.
So if you haven't seen George Washington...
Well, George Washington was a person. We have evidence he existed. We know what a person is. So, but God is just not defined. It's just a word that we made up that no one can really define or demonstrate. And those are the two things you need to do, is define and demonstrate anything you say exists, right? So that's why I don't. I mean, I'm all about truth. Like, my foundation is truth. Like, that's my foundation. And everywhere I go, I make sure it's part of that. It's, logic and reason, evidence, make sure it's all part of that. And if it's not, then I don't.
And then in the Bible it also says in truth and spirit as well. Even with as Jesus came down too, there's a lot of evidence for him to exist as well.
A lot of evidence of what?
Evidence for him to exist.
For Jesus Christ.
For Jesus Christ.
The person, the human being?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that shows he really existed, to tell you the truth. I think it's debatable.
Even with, as a person?
Yeah, even as a person. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, early Christians didn't even believe in a real Jesus, in my understanding.
No, they
did.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Actually, matter of fact, even the historians in Rome actually recorded of a person, secular.
Well,
recorded of a
if
person.
people write something in Rome, aren't they just repeating the then believed stories? I mean, what do they really have to go on?
Well, and it's true. I don't know if they were first witnesses.
Right. So then that's why. I'm not saying he didn't exist, just that I think it's highly unlikely.
If you mind, do you think I can show you some resources that you can look at, or are you more so
What kind of resources would you show me other than the Bible?
There's a lot. There's an app, a couple of apps too, that have a lot of videos upon questions that you may have. And
Yeah,
if you want to take
I might have looked at those. I might have looked at stuff like that already.
You could look at a couple more, or no? You could send stuff.
What are they going to tell me that I don't already know?
Yeah.
Because for a long time, I've always asked people, well, what is God? And how do we, and can you demonstrate it? And no one's ever been able to answer those questions. And I think that in order for us to have a reasonable belief in anything, anyone says exists, it must be demonstrated. And we must know what we're talking about, right? If we don't have those two things, then is it really reasonable to believe in whatever someone says?
Right, so you're taking off the fact of someone's misunderstanding or lack of understanding in a topic.
No, not understanding, knowledge. Like they don't know what it is.
Okay, so you're taking their lack of knowledge and to accept that as your position.
Well, yeah, because whenever someone says something exists, they have the burden of proof, right? They're the one who says this exists, so they must show that what they're talking about and how it exists. Then I'll listen, and I care about the truth. So,
right. Even in Romans 11:20, when there's the creation verse where it's everything that you see, the birds in the sky, through the trees, as the animals roaming on earth, and even the stars in the sky.
Yeah.
It goes to show that there's a creator.
Well, that's an assumption, right? We're assuming that it was created by somebody, but we don't know.
According to the Bible, yes.
Right. So
according to the Bible, yes.
I'd have to.
And you're trying to understand if the Bible is even
Exactly.
Exactly. Incredible source.
All right. Because people can tell me, well, everything was created by a God and stuff, but I'm like, well, I still don't know what a God is. So,
what would be a point where you would take the Bible as credible? I'm just trying to understand.
Well, it depends on. Stories back then were written with a little bit of fact and a lot of fiction. I don't know of any burning bushes talking or six-ringed snakes, people walking in water. I don't see that happening. So I know a lot in there that's not true. But then people want to pick and choose what they think is true. So it's what would it take to believe the Bible is correct? Well, it depends on what we're talking about in the Bible, really. Could someone have existed named Jesus? It's possible. People right now call it Jesus, but...
If 12 people were believing to the point where they died...
If what?
If 12 people were persecuted most of their life to death, 12 people...
People believe in crazy stuff. Some of them are locked up. Right,
I understand.
So,
but even it could also be outside of that this 12 as well, where so many in Rome as well just being persecuted.
Right. Yeah, but that doesn't tell me what a God is and how it's demonstrated to exist. That just tells me people would believe in it, but not that it doesn't show validation. I understand some people are swayed by stories like that, they died for it, it must be true. But I care about the truth.
The actual.
What
Actual I see where you're going.
Yeah.
So I have a quick question that's kind of like a little bit off topic, but maybe kind of. So I see you're kind of getting to a lot of the technicalities of, someone didn't walk on water, someone didn't do that. So my question for you is, how do you feel about the messages in the Bible as a whole? Do you feel like those are...
How do I feel about what?
Like the messages in the Bible, like as a whole, the commandments. Like, you think those are
misguided? I think the first 4 commandments can be thrown away, for sure. I think religion steals morality from people and puts it into their writing. I don't think it gives us morality. I think it just takes it from us and tries to take credit for it.
Okay.
So,
just curious, where do you think the morality comes from?
Our morality improves as we age as a species. You know, it improves. It's an always improving process.
Okay, so my question too then, so how do you exactly define that improvement? Like, how do you measure, so say our morality improves. Okay, we can agree that, okay, morality is doing what's right? How do you define what is right, and how do you check that?
Well, we want to live as long as possible. We want to be without pain. We want to exist with other people because we're social creatures. So we create laws that protect those things and stop people from doing things that would be adverse to that. So, it's just like common English law, really.
I think, we just started here at like 10 o'clock.
I kind of see what you're getting at, yeah.
A handful of people.
What do you call it? I don't know. This is just my own perspective because I was an atheist for the longest time.
I didn't know.
Well, everyone's born that way, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, like for like the longest time, like until like my college years, and for me, what really turned me was. Well, the first thing that's most important is that, this whole, God, Jesus, like feeling that thing. If your heart's not open to it, if you're not like really seeking it out, you're not really going to feel it.
Well,
and that was
right, but you're expressing emotions.
Yeah.
Emotions should never be used to determine the validity of something. So even though you might feel good about thinking about whatever character or whatever story, it doesn't add validity to the story. Right? You still need to have. You should still require definition and demonstration of whatever it is said to exist.
That is true, and that's where I'm going with this. So, I mean, obviously, it's the emotional feelings. It's, there's a God who loves me, and He's looking out for me. And okay, so the words in the Bible, right? There's things that I used to not understand were bad to me or whatever, and by going through the Bible, it actually provided like information about stuff. Like, it's always relevant to stuff that's going on today, right?
I don't think Exodus 21 is relevant today.
Okay, yeah. I'm not saying the entire book, right?
Okay.
But there's a lot of things in there that are super important and relevant today. And
it's more so, I think, just
there's a reason to it.
Hi, buddy.
Appreciate the conversation.
All right, man.
Pretty sick ride.
I mean, I got 2 girls.
See you, bud.
And now for one.
But it's just, I don't know. It helped me a lot.
Yeah, like.
Okay, but did it tell you what it is, and did it demonstrate it for you?
Yeah.
In a way that you can share with others and they could be convinced? Scientifically.
Well, scientifically, no.
All right, then.
He
Then there we
turned
go.
my life around. I am the person I was 4 or 5 years ago. I wouldn't say unrecognizable, but I've made a lot of positive strides.
Me too, and it
since
took 4 months of therapy, and I went from having a lot of anxiety to having none. And it was because of therapy. I had a therapist, 4 months, took care of my anxiety. I'm now a completely different person. You can say something changed your life, and I can make up another reason why it changed. But just because my life changed doesn't mean I can say, Tinkerbell did it, right? I'd still have to. Fuck are those things?
just they've been hanging around.
What are those?
I don't know.
Okay.
But they don't bother us. They're not bothering us. Yeah.
Yeah. So. I would still require. I'm like, okay. No offense, but I'd be like, cool story, bro. But what is a God? And what something is? This is something I thought of myself. You can disagree. But in order to know what something is, I think 3 things need to be somewhat satisfied. Just a broad understanding, not really very specific. You don't need a complete understanding. 3 things to make us know what something is, what it's made of, where it exists, and how it functions. Just a general understanding of those 3 things should be able to pinpoint the uniqueness of something to where, okay, that's a unique thing, type of thing. That's a good definition. But no one's been able to at least satisfy any of that. They say God's a spirit, or all these things that really don't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, scientifically, you really can't argue it. This is our opinion. This is what we believe. There's really
Right.
You can't argue these things scientifically. It's just not how it works.
So you think it's okay to believe in stuff that you can't demonstrate?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's where we differ, right?
And that's okay.
All right. You guys gonna be doing the? Yeah. See, those things are okay, but they don't last for shit. He's taking it to class.
Oh, those, yeah.
But then he's probably gonna, unless he has a charger on him, he might have a charger on him. He'll take it other places. Otherwise, he'll just take it around.
Yeah, so what's the battery life on those things like?
Those right there,
Yeah.
probably an hour, maybe 2 at the most.
Okay, and that's
Make-
riding
make-
it somewhat fast, or
You can't really boogie on those things.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That thing's pretty fast. What's the top speed on that thing?
Apparently, it can go 60.
Wow.
I've only gone 46. Yeah. So.
Okay, I gotta ask, where do you go the fastest? Like, what, do you go fastest, like, on a bare country
On a
road?
street? No, I go on a street. I'll go on a street, especially if I have the right lane, because some streets don't have bike lanes. So I'll just take the whole right lane, and I'll boogie. Or I'll go down Depot Park Trail. I'll boogie down there.
Yeah, that's actually the best place.
That is
to
really
go.
good, because you just
Yeah.
fly down there.
Yeah.
And it's like,
You can see everybody from, like, about
it's
half a
great.
mile.
Oh, yeah. And if I wanted to, I can bring a fast charger with me, and I can go charge at a Starbucks for about 30 minutes, and then continue riding.
Have you ridden on, like, have you ridden on a scooter before? Or?
On a regular scooter?
Yeah.
I think I have taken one before, yeah. Yeah.
So what drew you to the uni?
I used to do the little hoverboard thing, they called it. But those things would break often. They would last for shit. Once I got these, I'm like, it's done. I'm on these all the time.
It's like, I'm converted.
You should get one, man. You can get a cheaper one.
College student. Until I get
That's what parents are for.
Yeah.
Mom, I need a way to get around. All the cool kids are using it. All right, man. I'll see you guys later.
I wanted to say about affirmative action, it was created because, same thing with DEI, it was created because people of color who qualified to go in these universities were denied simply because of their skin tone, which is why they created affirmative action. It's disingenuous to
that's why we created the Civil Rights Act, not the Affirmative Action. So those are 3 different things, right? Civil Rights Act, Affirmative Action, DEI. 3 different things. Civil Rights Act, we agree, no one should be discriminated based on the color of their skin. Affirmative Action is something different. Affirmative Action is that we're going to lower the standards to get more of a skin color just because we think they're not represented enough. DEI is a further extension of that. So let me kind of ask the question again. So baked into the idea of white privilege is that inherently in our culture or society, somebody that has white skin color in this audience has extra privileges that you as a black individual do not have. Can you list what those are?
Sure. When FDR employed the New Deal to counteract the Great Depression, this came with resources that was allowed it to white people. Banks denied 99% of qualified black applicants while also accepting 99% of white applicants.
But today in 2025.
Okay, today in 2025, as I alluded to you, they've done studies in psychology where white-sounding names receive jobs or callbacks more than black-sounding names. They did the 2 names. It was a white young lady named Anna Scott, and it was a black young lady named Lakeisha Washington. They both put in 80 job applications. Lakeisha Washington received 9 callbacks and received 75 calls.
That's a good point. I actually, that study is debated, but let's pretend it's true. Do you think it's racism or something else?
I think that answer is multifaceted.
Because let me make the best. Sorry to interrupt you. If we live under a status of DEI and people are getting jobs that they're not qualified for, wouldn't that an applicant then assume maybe that an applicant might be there based on DEI, not on merit? It actually creates more racism where it doesn't exist.
So DEI is not about going and grabbing some random person of color and saying you therefore qualify. DEI is about considering other qualified applicants.
Well, let's take airline pilots. United Airlines wants 40% all of their airline pilots to be women or people of color. Why does that matter? Number one, because I want a qualified airline pilot, not a person of color airline pilot.
Understood.
So you agree. But number two, there's only so many airline pilots jobs. So when you say we want 40%, by definition, then you have to discriminate against a certain group to get another group to advance, right?
Understood.
Because there's not unlimited amounts of spots for airline pilots or air traffic control or surgeons or whatever position. So when you say that we want to have a quota, that then you have to say we're not going to prioritize a certain group. Let me tell you what I believe, and maybe you might actually agree with it, because I think you do. What we believe as conservatives is that skin color really doesn't matter that much. We care about character and merit. We want a country built on what you bring to the table, not how you look.
Exactly. And America started out with that based on merit, and theoretically it was supposed to work. In practice, it did not, which is why you have these different programs of affirmative action, DEI, and the Civil Rights Act, because they were not working. You cannot ignore that these policies were created to counteract racism. A counteract to racism is not racism in itself.
Well, I reject the premise, and I will say this. If you do something racist on top of something racist, that doesn't make the second racist action good. Because if you discriminate against white people to say that we're fighting racism, then that's not a good idea. But instead, I think you can agree that when we build a society like college admissions or job applications, we should say no quotas and just merit. You agree?
I agree for...
then you're against DEI, because DEI says quotas.
Yeah, let me finish. I agree to a certain extent. So when you mentioned about...
like right next to the palm tree, I'm really short though. Like everyone's tall.
I mean, it's very easy to differentiate.
But hold on, you said all it takes is for someone to say they're a woman. What about why is it a process? You said it's just a declaration.
Yeah.
So what is the?
But I'm not saying I'm a woman.
No, I say, inform me about the process, because I thought you said it was just a declaration.
I mean, you can pretty easily tell that someone's going out. I don't know if it's ever been documented, but someone that's going out to women's sports to specifically compete and just say, "Oh yeah, I'm trans."
Well, no, we have
I'm sure that would be shut down.
No, actually, it isn't. We have 900 documented examples. We have William Thomas, who won the NCAA swimming championship against Riley Gaines.
But that's a trans woman.
No,
right?
it's a man.
Or a trans man. I don't really know where your angle is right now, but
it's a biological man who was born a man and is a man, who, like you, was dressing up like a woman, but isn't a woman.
Isn't that going against like free speech? I mean,
no,
because you can present yourself however you want.
Okay, so let me ask you another moral question.
I don't think it's that deep.
If someone who says they are a woman, should they be allowed to walk into the woman's locker room?
Yeah, I think that's fine. Like if they identify as a woman, I mean, I don't think it's that deep.
That deep?
I mean, well, what's your angle against it?
Well, that men and women are distinct and perverts have no places in locker rooms.
But I don't think trans people are perverts. I would say if someone is a pervert, listen, if a man is a real true predator will not turn trans and say, "Oh, I'm a woman now," to go into a women's bathroom.
Well, actually, the clinical data shows that men to woman transitions, which don't exist, is something called autogynephilia. Do you know what autogynephilia is?
No idea. That's a big word.
It's men that get sexual pleasure of dressing up like women and being around women.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. All right, that's crazy.
That's crazy. You can look it up. It's a clinical term called autogynephilia. It is the number one. It's the biggest driver of transgenderism. However, I do want to get. I've never heard of that. I want to get to root causes though, because we keep on using this word, and it's so. What is a woman?
I don't know. That one's hard. I know that's your line, and I think that's hard to say, man. I don't know.